The story begins with a girl named Alexandra Wallace, or Alex for short. She's at a club where she meets a guy named Lucky. After chatting for a bit, she finds out he's a medical student. Alex ends up taking another guy she met back to her room to get intimate. Later, while she's sleeping, she suddenly feels a presence on top of her. She jolts awake, terrified, only to realize it was just a nightmare. She gets up to grab something to eat, and a friend of hers comes over. Alex is also a medical student and is known to have terrible nightmares. Her friend, knowing this, saw her up and came to check if she was okay. Annoyed by the intrusion, Alex gets angry, goes back to her room, and kicks out the guy she brought home. The next morning, Alex goes to a shop where she sees a little boy named Raffle. He's there trying to sell some old beer bottles. Alex buys some drinks for herself and also gets a hot dog, which she gives to the boy. Alex then arrives at her college for her entrance exam. During the exam, she spots Lucky, who is a senior and is handing out the exam papers. He's also the assistant to a Professor Jan Zawadsky. Meanwhile, we cut to an excavation site where workers find something buried in the ground. Turns out to be a statue or an artifact, which they pull out. They agree not to tell anyone about it, otherwise the archaeological department would get involved and cause them trouble. Elsewhere, we see Raffle, the boy from the store, setting off firecrackers under a bridge. Nearby, something stirs in the water. After the exam, Lucky takes all the papers to the professor. He tells him that he's already checked the papers and none of the students are particularly special. The professor looks through them himself and notices a paper with some strange designs drawn on it. It's Alex's paper. The professor asks Lucky about her, and he explains that Alex is a good student who got in on a scholarship. The professor tells him to find out more. Lucky looks her up online and finds a video. In it, a vlogger is talking about an accident on Route 99 involving a mother and her child. The mother died, but her 3-year-old daughter miraculously survived. The vlogger also mentions an incident at a beach where 6 people died, and only 1 person survived. He believes there's a connection between the 2 events. He reveals that the sole survivor of the beach tragedy was the very same girl who survived the car crash. That girl was Alex. The professor asks Lucky, "Did you see the symbol on her paper?" Lucky replies, "Yes, it's the symbol of the god of the underworld." The professor then goes outside and sees Alex leaving. He starts to follow her, but a bright flash of light appears in front of him, revealing a woman, which makes him stop in his tracks. That night, the professor is reading an old mythology book, which mentions a mythological creature named Ravit. At the same time, Alex is studying in her room. She starts smoking and looks at a photo of her mom in her book, then burns her mother's face in the picture with her lighter. Lucky is asleep in his room when a sound wakes him up. He sees the professor sitting in his room. The professor hands him his car keys and tells him to meet Alex and do something, implying he has a specific, hidden motive. Alex is at a club when Lucky shows up. They talk and have a few drinks. Lucky gives Alex a pill, which is clearly a drug, and after taking it, she starts feeling its effects. Lucky leads her out of the club. He drives the car off the main road and onto a rough path, speeding up. Alex begs him to slow down, but he doesn't listen. Suddenly, he jumps out of the car, and it plunges off a cliff and into the water below with Alex still inside. Alex struggles to get out. After a moment, a bright light appears, and the same mysterious woman from before shows up and rescues her. The next thing we know, Alex is waking up in her bed. She gets a message on her phone telling her to come to the administration office. When she gets there, she assumes it's about her scholarship. She explains that she's an orphan and that she and her grandmother survive on her grandma's pension, so she desperately needs the scholarship. The office lady clarifies that it's not about the scholarship. She's been called in to discuss her housing. She's told that she has to move into a hostel run by Professor Zawadsky and live with his research group, as all his students live there. Even though the entrance exam results aren't out yet, she's already been accepted into the professor's group. Alex is, of course, happy about this and tells her grandmother the news. Her grandma lives in the countryside and tells Alex that something bad is coming, mentioning that the chickens on their farm have been dying. She warns Alex to be careful. After the call, the grandmother walks a short distance and ties a red thread around the hand of a small doll. Alex packs her things and moves into the professor's hostel. Lucky opens the door. Alex immediately confronts him. "What did you drug me with? Were you trying to drown me?" Lucky dismissively replies, "If you can't handle your liquor and drugs, why do you take them? I'm the one who brought you back to your room when you were wasted. You should be thanking me." Inside the hostel, she meets a girl named Ileana, who shows Alex to her room. That night, as Alex is sleeping, she sees the same faceless entity again, climbing on top of her. She's terrified and wakes up in shock. She looks down and sees scratch marks on her body. She closes her eyes and starts counting. When she opens them again, the marks are gone. Alex goes to the kitchen, where she meets the other students from the hostel. They all seem to know about her bad dreams. One girl explains, "We're doing therapy here, but we're also conducting experiments on paranormal phenomena. We're going to analyze your nightmares." As Alex heads back to her room, one of the guys tells her she has a meeting with the professor tomorrow and that everyone has to be there. After Alex leaves, Ileana says, "She's definitely our 9th person. She's the one who will open new paths for us." The guy warns her. Nobody says anything to her about this until the professor talks to her himself. The next day, Alex is in the professor's office. The professor arrives, and at the sound of the door, Alex looks up. Lucky approaches the professor and shows him something on his phone, saying, "Look at this light. I've never seen anything like it." The professor replies, "I told you she wouldn't be harmed. It's confirmed. Alex is our 9th member. Our group is complete. Now it's crucial that she doesn't get scared and run away." Alex overhears their entire conversation. She grabs her coat and leaves. Two of the girls try to stop and explain, but she walks out anyway. The professor and Lucky come out, and the girls tell them she heard everything. Lucky says he'll bring her back and goes after her. Alex is walking down the street in the rain. A little further on, she sees Raffle, the boy from the store. He's standing there, looking like he's talking to someone who isn't there. Alex calls out to him, but he runs away. She follows him to an apartment building. She sees him through a window and goes upstairs. When she enters the apartment, she finds a man dead, who is likely the boy's father. Alex goes to the boy, who is in another room, standing completely still. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" she asks. Alex then looks to her side and sees a strange creature moving towards the boy. It looks like it's made of fire. Alex ducks behind a bathtub and knocks it over, spilling water all over the floor. The water makes the creature hiss and recoil in pain. Alex then breaks a nearby pipe and sprays more water on the creature, which eventually kills it. She rushes to the boy, but he isn't breathing. Alex starts performing CPR, trying desperately to revive him. Suddenly, the room is filled with a bright light, and she sees the glowing woman again. The episode ends here, with Alex unable to save the boy. Alex calls the professor and his students to the apartment. They arrive, take photos, and examine the creature and the boy's body. Alex is completely bewildered by what's happening. The professor wants to take the creature's body with them. Alex thinks she saw the boy open his eyes and tells the professor, but when Lucky checks, the boy is still dead. Meanwhile, we see the worker from the excavation site at his home with the artifact. He feels as if the artifact is calling to him. He goes to it and picks it up. It breaks, and a black liquid oozes out from inside. The professor takes Alex outside. She wants to tell the police everything, but he forbids it and puts her in his car. Alex gets angry and demands, "What was that thing in there that killed that boy? And what were you talking about with this group and the 9th member?" The professor explains that there are certain rituals that require 9 people to be performed. He asks her, "Have you ever seen a bright light?" Alex says yes, but she always thought it was due to her mental state or the drugs. "That's not it," the professor says. "This is a science I've been researching for 30 years. Inside the car, Alex notices a small doll, just like the one her grandmother has. It's a Slavic charm for protection. She gets out of the car, where she runs into her friend, who asks her what's wrong. Alex takes her friend to the morgue, where the bodies of the boy and his father were taken. They sneak inside to look at the bodies. Alex checks the boy's body one last time, hoping he might still be alive. Her friend asks if she's been sleeping properly. Alex admits she can't, that she has terrifying nightmares and sees strange things. She adds that her mother used to have similar nightmares and visions. After this, Alex leaves the morgue. As she does, the man from the excavation site arrives. He goes to the boy's body and unzips the body bag. The boy's eyes open, he's alive. The man calls the boy a monster. The boy sits up and asks him, "How did that girl get here? We have to find her." He whispers something in the man's ear. The man then goes and stands outside while the boy inside starts screaming, repeatedly yelling things like, "Dirty water, black water." The boy says, he must die. Back at the worker's house, black liquid continues to seep from the artifact. The two of them now leave the morgue. Alex happens to be walking nearby. The boy and the man arrive at a public square, and the boy starts muttering something. His words cause everyone around them to start acting erratically, almost insane. Alex, who is in the same square, spots the boy and starts walking towards him, taking pictures with her phone. But just then, 2 people from the professor's group appear and stop her from getting closer. In that instant, the boy and the man vanish, and everything goes back to normal. Alex rushes to the professor's hostel and knocks on the door. Lucky is wearing headphones and doesn't hear her at first, while the professor is examining the creature they brought back. When Lucky finally takes his headphones off, he hears the knocking and realizes Alex is there. They let her in and she meets with the professor. "That boy is alive," she exclaims. One of the girls says, "You must have seen him in Casimir's Square." The professor says, "I pronounced him dead. You must have been mistaken." Alex shows them the photo she took. They all go down to the basement where the creature's body is kept. The professor says that the police would have no idea what this is or what really happened there. Alex looks at the creature. The professor calls over a guy named Birdie, who walks up to the creature, puts his hand into its stomach, and his hand starts to burn. The professor explains that Birdie can see the origin of things just by touching them. All of the professor's students or the members of this group are special. Each has a unique power. For example, one girl can read minds and Lucky can talk to the dead. Birdie reveals that the creature was made of fire, meaning it was good, not evil. Couldn't have killed anyone. Alex insists, "It killed that boy right in front of my eyes." The professor asks, "What did it look like before it turned to stone?" Alex replies, "It looked like a strange animal wearing the skin of another animal." The professor and the others go back up to his office. He shows Alex a chart with drawings of creatures and points to one, asking, "Was it this one?" Alex confirms it looked a lot like it. The creature was a reveat. "When I threw water on it, it turned to stone," she adds. The professor asks, "Why did you throw water on it?" "Perhaps you act on intuition." The professor wonders how a benevolent deity could kill someone and how the boy could have come back to life. He speculates, perhaps during his death he was changed. A malevolent spirit must have possessed his body. The professor explains that their ancestors believed the universe was created by a god named Triglov, who had 3 heads. His white head created gods of goodness, beauty, and fire. His black head created gods of evil, fear, and water. And the third, red head, maintained the peace between good and evil. One of the students adds that when a spirit possesses a body, the only way to stop it is to cut off the person's head and bury the head and body in separate places. The professor declares, "We have to find that boy." Some of the group decide to go to the market where the boy was last seen. Lucky decides to go to the morgue to try and communicate with the boy's dead father, and Alex goes with him. We then see the boy, Raffle, with the man under a bridge. He's drinking filthy water like an animal. Alex and Lucky arrive at the morgue and start looking for the father's corpse. As they search, the body bags around them start to move. The corpses inside come to life and attack them. It becomes clear they are all after Alex. Lucky manages to push Alex out of the room. She runs for her life as all the reanimated bodies in the morgue rise up and chase her. Alex runs into a room with no way out. A corpse corners her. She manages to impale its head on a large hook on the wall, slowing it down. Just then, Lucky arrives and cuts its head off. The moment he beheads the corpse, the boy, Raffle, clutches his own neck in pain. Later, the professor and the rest of the group are at a graveyard, burying the bodies. Raffle and the man are walking away. They stop, and the boy says something. The water nearby begins to churn, and 2 demonic-looking girls emerge from it. The next morning, the group is still at the graveyard, having finished their work. We then see Raffle, who has walked to a hill overlooking the town. Alex is shown showering and heading back to her room when she runs into Ileana. Ileana takes her aside and reveals that she can see people's futures and wants to see Alex's. She looks into Alex's future and sees a vision of her in a dark, cave-like place, looking terrified and lost. But Ileana lies to Alex, saying she couldn't see anything and that her power doesn't always work. Next, we see the professor and Birdie at the crime scene where Raffle's father died. The professor brought him there to find out what really happened. Birdie touches the bathtub where the father died and sees a vision. He discovers that Raffle was the one who brutally killed his own father with a cleaver. The professor returns to the hostel and tells the group that the boy's body has been possessed by something incredibly powerful. A student asks how that's possible. The professor explains that only a powerful deity can possess a human body. He tells Alex, "The creature you killed was sent by a white god to destroy some evil deity or force, and you got in the way." We then see Raffle on a cliff at a place called Wanda's Mound. He digs something out of the ground, makes his 2 demons smell it, and sends them to find someone. The professor unrolls a scroll and explains that in ancient times, there was great chaos. The armies of gods, fire, and demons, water, were at war. Then the earth was born. The gods and demons felt the world was big enough for both of them, so they made a truce and left the world in the hands of humanity. The gods watched from above but never interfered. Until now, only minor demons roamed the earth, but now major demons are appearing, and no one knows why. What's my role in all of this? Alex asks. The professor replies, if we can figure out who possessed the boy, then maybe everything that's happened to you, everything you don't understand, will finally make sense. Alex leaves, and the professor sends Birdie after her. The professor then makes a phone call to someone and is about to leave when he hears a noise from the attic. It's one of Raffles' demons, who has been sent to spy on them. Alex goes to college, with Birdie following her to try and stop her. He puts a hand on her shoulder, and he gets another vision. He sees a woman walking into water and drowning. He tells Alex that he saw something from her coat. Whatever is happening, Birdie says, is probably connected to your past, and you might not even know it. Alex dismisses it, saying the coat probably belonged to someone else, and walks away. Later, Birdie is getting something from a vending machine when one of Raffles' demons appears. It sniffs him and then moves on, spotting Alex. The demon starts moving towards her. Alex makes it to her classroom, and Birdie follows her in. Are you okay? He asks. Something weird is going on downstairs. He then tells her, I found out the name of the woman from your coat. Her name is Wanda. In class, they are being taught about parasites and how they can enter a host's body and alter their behavior. Later, Alex is at a restaurant when Lucky shows up. He tries to convince her to come back to the group, but she refuses. In the same restaurant is one of the two demon girls. Alex orders a beer. The demon girl brings the beer and spits her black saliva into it. Back at the hostel, a student named Gigi is drinking coffee when he hears a noise from upstairs. He goes up to find the other demon girl in his room. She comes close, kisses him, and asks him where she is. A black liquid starts to drip from Gigi's mouth. Alex and Lucky are at the bar when a woman comes and sits with them. Lucky explains that this woman, Pilka, is a goddess who tempts people to drink. Just as Alex is about to drink her beer, Pilka stops her, saying, don't drink that. Lucky thinks Pilka is being rude and tells her to leave, which she does. Alex and Lucky then start drinking. An hour later, Alex goes to the restroom. On her way out, the demon girl says, come with me, but Alex ignores her and walks past. Lucky follows Alex out, and the demon girl tells him, I want her. Lucky, who is starting to feel intoxicated, follows her into the restroom where he and Alex get intimate. Afterwards, Alex leaves without a word. Lucky follows her, and they arrive back at the hostel. He tells her, I don't know what happened back there. It felt like something took over me. At the hostel, loud music is blasting. Alex and Lucky go to check and find two girls cranking up the music. They hear Gigi screaming from his room upstairs. The girls say that Gigi brought a girl home and has been making noises for a while. Everyone goes to his room and calls out to him, but he doesn't answer. Finally, Gigi opens the door, and the demon girl walks out with him. She sees Alex and says, you, come with me. It's a demon. Alex yells. The demon attacks one of the girls. The students fight back and hit the demon. As they do, whatever happens to the demon also happens to Gigi. They are connected. Lucky and the others manage to shove the demon into a room. She starts calling out for her master. Who is her master? Alex asks. Lucky replies, it must be the one who sent her here, to kill you. Lucky is furious that a demon got into their hostel and no one did anything. He's becoming very aggressive. Alex remembers the other girl at the bar looked exactly like this one and realizes Lucky must have been poisoned. Ileana remembers that this is a Ruzalkil, a water spirit, usually found in ponds, and they can't figure out how one got here. Ileana takes Lucky and Gigi to the office to find a cure. They try to call the professor, but he doesn't answer, so Ileana decides to handle the cure herself. She gathers the group and gives instructions, saying they have to restrain Gigi. They tie up the demon, then tie up Gigi, and take him to a remote farm. They place Gigi in the center of a circle drawn with symbols and begin a ritual. Ileana brings a pig, and Gigi spits the black liquid onto it. The pig runs outside and bursts into flames. Back at the house, the captured demon also becomes agitated. Alex wonders, if the servant is like this, what will the master be like? How are we supposed to fight him? Meanwhile, Raffle, at his hideout, is greatly disturbed by the ritual. He pulls a stick-like object from his own body, draws something on the ground with it, and chants a mantra. A short distance away, the corpse of a man rises from the ground. The man says to Raffle, you have freed yourself. This new man goes to Raffle's servant, the construction worker, who kneels and calls him master. At the hostel, A local news report on the radio announces that a 6-year-old boy has been abducted from near his kindergarten, and the police have a clue from a calendar. Lucky fears it might be his younger brother, Mykolai. We then see the professor at a farm, where he digs up an earthworm and eats it. Back at the hostel, Antony and Alex have been guarding the demon girl for a long time. Finally, frustrated, Alex lets her go, telling her, "Go to your master." She plans to follow the demon to find out who its master is. Alex and Antony chase after the demon, but she's too fast. They split up to find her. Alex spots her and continues the pursuit, following her deep into a forest. We then see a new demon, a large bearded man, taking supplies from a car. He leaves, and in the background, we see the bodies of 3 people hanging from a tree. Alex returns to the group who have brought Gigi back. Ileana reports that another new demon has appeared in the city and has killed 3 people near Cracow Mound. The police have even released a sketch of him, and it's the same demon who rose from the ground earlier. Everyone gets a notification from the professor and heads out to meet him. Lucky goes to his brother's kindergarten, where the police are already present. He asks a little girl if she's seen Mykolai. She says he was outside but doesn't know where he went after that. Lucky rushes to his mom's house and asks where Mykolai is. She says he's at kindergarten. It's clear that Lucky and his mom don't have a good relationship. Lucky goes inside, searching for Mykolai, and tells his mom that he's been kidnapped. "That's not possible," she says. Lucky insists she inform the police. Just then, Mykolai emerges from his room. He had come home from school without telling anyone. Lucky talks to him and asks where he went. Mykolai says, "I thought I saw Santa Claus in the bushes, so I went there. Did you see anyone there?" Lucky asks. "Yes," Mykolai replies. "A big man with a beard. He was very dirty and had bells, and there were dolls on his staff." Lucky grabs a book and shows him a sketch of the bearded demon. He explains, "Many years ago, during a time of great conflict, monsters lived in our world. One of them was Dead Moros, also known as Dead Moros. This monster lived in the underworld and was very evil. When he came out, people would leave gifts for him so he wouldn't kill them. Did you give him a gift?" Lucky asks. "Yes," says Mykolai, "but he left without taking it." The hostile group meets the professor at the morgue, where the bodies of the people found near Cracow Mound have been brought. The professor asks Alex to examine them. Alex notes that the noose marks on their necks are small and that their bodies are frozen solid. The professor shows them a crime scene photo where the 3 were hanging from a tree. He tells them that according to the police report, they were alive until just 30 minutes before their bodies froze. Alex is shocked, wondering how a body could freeze solid in just 30 minutes. The professor gets a call and steps away. Lucky arrives and tells them the victims were killed by Dead Moros. The professor returns and announces that another body has been found near Wanda's mound, a 5-year-old girl, also frozen. We then see Dead Moros, who has come into town. He approaches a nativity scene outside a church, picks up the baby Jesus statue, sniffs it, and then smashes it. 2 nuns see this and approach him. He grabs one of them and bites her. The demon that escaped the hostel finally reaches Raffle. As she gets closer, she sees him killing her sister demon. After he's done, he cuts her up. Seeing this, the demon starts crying and runs away. Raffle's servant brings him a bird to eat, but Raffle refuses it, saying it's not enough. "You have to eat something to get your strength back," the servant insists. Raffle replies, "I need a human baby, alive." Back at the morgue, the group is discussing how all the bodies were found near the ancient mounds. Antony suggests it's possible because the mounds are special places where ancient powers still reside, and Dead Moros is an ancient demon. Alex suggests the water spirit called someone master. Maybe she was referring to him, but Lucky disagrees. Dead Moros is dangerous, but he's not powerful enough to enslave anyone. He probably just killed those people on his own. Later, Alex is outside smoking when Lucky joins her. She's shaken by all the dead bodies and demons. "You'll have to get used to it," he says. Alex replies, "A week ago, I thought I was schizophrenic. I'm not, but I know there's something seriously wrong with me. It all started with my mom. She committed suicide, right?" Lucky asks. Alex says, "Maybe she did it because of me." Lucky suggests maybe she had PTSD. "I don't know any of that," Alex says. "All I know is where I was born, Copernicus Street." "Why there?" she asks. Lucky explains, "Because that's where the hospital and the archives are. I know a guy who works there. Let's go find out." They go to the archives. Alex tells him that her grandmother never talked about her mother. She looks through the archives and finds a report stating that a woman gave birth to a child outside the hospital and was then admitted. Alex has a vision of her mom in the hospital, scratching something on the wall. A nurse comes in with her baby, Alex. Her mom tells the nurse to take the baby away, saying, "He is here." Alex reads the report, which says the mother wasn't caring for her child and started having delusions after giving birth. There were photos included, one showing the drawing her mom had scratched on the wall. Alex takes a picture of it with her phone. The report concludes that the patient was discharged into her mother's care. "I need to talk to my grandma," Alex says. As Alex leaves to see her grandmother, she has a flashback to the car accident from her childhood. She arrives at her grandma's house and says, "I need to talk about my mom." Her grandma says, "Not now." Back at the hostel, Lucky returns. He asks the others if anything new has happened. They tell him that the frozen bodies of 2 nuns have been brought to the morgue. Lucky tries to ask the professor where he's been, but the professor deflects the question and leaves, returning to the same farm from before. A woman and a boy are there, possibly his wife and son. Alex is taking a bath. When she puts her head under the water, she sees the faceless entity again. She sits up and sees the scratch marks on her body again. Her grandmother comes in and takes her out of the bathroom. She sits her down and asks how she got the scratches. "Maybe I did it myself," Alex says, "or maybe the thing that's been following me did it. The same thing that followed my mom." Her grandma looks at the scratches, but they're gone. "The wounds of the past don't last long," she says cryptically. Alex is confused. "I almost drowned." Her grandma replies, "Those scratches you got are what saved you from drowning. It is not the devil, but it is evil for sure. The devil is still alive." Alex tries to get more answers, but her grandma is unwilling to talk. Alex gets angry and demands to know more. "What can I tell you?" her grandma says. Finally, her grandma brings a potion in a small vial, a drink called Kolyadnaya. She says, "This will help you meet your past." Alex drinks it and has a vision of her mother when she was young. Her mom is at a club where a man gives her drinks and then rapes her while she's intoxicated. Her grandma explains, when she started showing, she would say, "The devil is after me." I thought she was calling her rapist the devil because what he did was so monstrous. The doctors at the hospital said she had schizophrenia. When Alex's mom, Henka, called from the hospital, she said she was fine and that Wanda made everything okay. "Who is Wanda?" Alex asks. "I think she was a friend of hers, but I never asked," her grandma says. After that, the seizures stopped, but whatever demon or devil it was, it tormented her until her death. Her grandma tells her that after her mother's death, she found a bag in her room with a note inside that said, "The sickness must be cared for." "Is someone sick?" Alex asks. "I don't know," her grandma replies. "Maybe your mom wanted you to become a doctor." That night, Alex dreams of her mother, who keeps repeating, "Sickness, sickness," while a baby Alex cries nearby. She wakes up with a start and sees the faceless entity in the corner of her room. Then she actually wakes up for real. She looks at the photo of her mom that she burned, then at her lighter, which has a dragon-like design on it. She returns to Cracow and calls Lucky. She shows him the lighter and tells him to take her to the place depicted on it. They arrive at a spot with a statue of a dragon. Alex thinks this might be the place. She looks at the photo on her phone of the drawing her mother scratched on the wall. Lucky finds a nearby cave that's locked and tries to open it. Alex looks at the photo again and tells Lucky, "This isn't the place. It doesn't match the picture at all." She tells him they should go back. As she turns to leave, she has a realization. She calls Lucky over. This is the place. The light at that particular time of day was casting a shadow from the dragon statue that perfectly matched the drawing her mother had made on the wall. They go inside the cave. "Were dragons real?" Alex asks. "No," Lucky says. "The legends of the dragon, Cracow, and Wanda are all just for tourists. The real locals called it war." "Is this the tomb of war?" Alex asks. "Yes," Lucky says, "but he's not here." He then adds, "In Old Slavic, war means sickness." Hearing this, Alex is stunned. As they venture deeper, they hear a noise and see a light ahead. A security guard is coming, so they quickly get out of there. Alex and Lucky return to the hostel and wake everyone up, telling them they have new information. They all go to the professor's office, but he isn't there. They hear the door open. It's the professor. "What is it?" he asks. Alex says, "We have new information. The thing that was tormenting me is the same thing tormenting the whole city, and it's what drove my mom to suicide." She explains, "My grandmother says it's a devil, but I think it was a dragon." "Which dragon?" Ileana asks. Lucky answers, "The Wowel dragon." Alex shows them the photo of her mom's drawing and the dragon's shadow, which proves her theory. "Do you know the legend of the dragon?" Alex asks. Lucky says, "The legend has 3 main characters, Wanda, Cracow, and the dragon, also known as War." Alex adds, "Wanda was Cracus's daughter, and that's where it all begins. Wanda's name keeps popping up. My grandma mentioned her, said she was my mom's friend." Birdie chimes in, "And when I touched your coat, the name I got was Wanda." "What exactly is the legend of Wanda?" Hania asks. Ileana explains, "Cracow was like a fairy tale king, who declared that whoever killed the dragon could marry his daughter. He didn't ask for her opinion, though. Ileana continues, there's another version of the legend. In that one, Wanda was furious with her father's decision and found her own way to kill the dragon. However, killing deities is forbidden. They can only be imprisoned. If she really killed the dragon, she made a huge mistake. Lucky suggests, maybe she didn't kill it because only a powerful deity like War could give orders and enslave others. Alex points out, people are being murdered at every ancient site connected to these legends. Gigi points to a map showing that the 3 ancient mounds form the boundaries of Cracow. Our ancestors believed in the magical power of the number 3, he says. If you connect the meridians of Cracow, it adds up to 3. The professor says, the greatest power is contained in a parallel world, and we must find it. That is the solution to all these events. The whole group goes to the central point of the 3 mounds in the city, a place the professor calls the Axis Mundi, which means the center point of everything or the world's navel. Birdie places his hand on the ground at that spot. He sees a vision of Alex's mother holding a baby Alex, sitting right there on that very spot. Birdie turns to Alex and tells her, you were born right here. Then we see Alex having a dream about her mom. She's following her mother, who walks into a room and locks the door. Alex knocks, trying to get in. While inside, her mom prays to Saint Anthony, saying, get rid of the sickness. Meanwhile, Lucky is walking down the hall and hears Alex talking in her sleep, asking her mom how she can get rid of her sickness, and saying she doesn't know anything. Inside her room, the same glowing woman from before appears, places a hand on her head, and with a snap of her fingers, everything calms down. Alex jolts awake. She immediately grabs her mom's old bag and starts examining it. She notices its surface is hard and finds a combination lock on the side. She tries to open it, using numbers she remembers from her dream, but it won't budge. The scene then cuts to Raphael and his servant heading into a basement-like area, which is filled with skeletons and the bodies of dead children. Down below, they find a creature called Dead Moros. Raphael is furious, demanding to know why he hasn't caused enough destruction in the city yet. Raphael orders him to go back into the city and cause more chaos. Lucky goes into the professor's office and finds a confidential envelope. Just then, Alex walks in and asks him who Saint Anthony is. Lucky explains that he is the protector of children. Later, everyone is in the kitchen for breakfast when a news report comes on the radio. Many children have gone missing from the city and a local orphanage. As the group prepares to leave, Alex's friend from earlier shows up to see her. We then see the professor at the hospital with his son, who has been sick for a long time. The professor is asleep, holding a book with a picture of a dragon in it. His son wakes up, sees the book, and the professor wakes up too. The boy asks, what did those people get for sacrificing their newborn children? The professor replies, a life for a life. Raphael is shown again, telling his servant that the terror caused by Dead Moros isn't enough, and orders him to bring him a baby. Following this, the professor's students arrive at the hospital for their training. Alex and Birdie are following a doctor when they hear a woman crying from one of the rooms. Inside, they find a woman holding her dead baby, weeping and saying, I've made a terrible mistake. She had dug up her baby's body from the ground. Alex calls for the doctor, and as they take the baby, the woman pleads with Alex, don't let anything happen to my baby. After the doctor leaves the morgue, Alex and Birdie go inside to see the child. Suddenly, the city is covered in black clouds, and a strong wind begins to blow. People in the streets start to go mad and fall ill. This is all the work of Dead Moros. Lucky and Hania arrive at the hospital, and Alex tells Lucky about the woman and the baby. Birdie explains that the woman had secretly buried her child in the garden. Lucky tells Birdie to find out where the professor is. More and more sick patients are being brought into the hospital, and with each one, Raphael seems to grow stronger. Lucky goes outside, gathers some soil from the garden, and he and Alex return to the morgue. The dead child is still acting feral. Lucky throws a sheet over it to capture it, but the creature tries to manipulate Alex with its words. Lucky kills it by stuffing the dirt he collected into its mouth, ensuring it won't come back to life. When they go upstairs, they find the professor with his son and wife, and the boy looks completely healthy. Lucky is furious and confronts the professor, asking what this is all about. Livid, Lucky storms off, but Alex stays behind. The professor asks her, where is your goddess? I need help. Where is she? Before leaving with his family. Downstairs, Alex and Lucky are standing together when Alex's friend appears and suddenly collapses in front of them. Alex rushes to Birdie to figure out what's happening to everyone. Birdie says he can't handle it, but Alex convinces him to use his powers. He touches her friend and has a vision of Dead Moros in a sewer located at St. Mary's. Alex goes there, and as she explores a tunnel, Pa attacks her, choking her and trying to drown her in the sewer water. During the struggle, Alex has a vision of the same woman Birdie saw, Wanda, drowning. Just then, a church bell rings, causing Pa to scream in pain. Realizing the sound hurts him, Alex starts kicking a metal gate to create more noise. The glowing woman appears again and points towards some electrical wires. Alex rips them from the wall and throws them into the water, electrocuting and killing Pa. The woman disappears, and Alex hears a voice whisper, "Find me." Meanwhile, at the hospital, the professor is near the infant ward and then goes inside, turning off the lights. Back in the sewer, Lucky, Anthony, and Gigi arrive. Anthony tells Gigi that Alex has a guardian angel named 8-War. He's confused because 8-War is an ancient and powerful being who only serves high-ranking priestesses from a bygone era. Lucky approaches Alex and says, "You killed Pa." Alex replies, "I didn't do it alone and you know it. I have to see my mom, no matter what." The scene cuts to the professor at the abandoned place where Raphael is. He gets out of his car with a baby and leaves it in a specific spot. Elsewhere, Ileana is having a vision of Alex's future, seeing her trapped and struggling in a cave. We then see Raphael kneeling before a skeleton, performing a ritual. He takes a piece of skin from his own body, places it on the skeleton, and chants, "Rise, come back to life." The next morning, a jogger discovers a newly formed body in that same spot and informs the authorities. Back at the hostel, Ileana knocks on Alex's door, but there's no answer. She enters to find Alex passed out on her bed. She won't wake up, almost as if she's dead. After several attempts, Ileana slaps her, and Alex finally comes to. Ileana is angry, realizing Alex has taken a bunch of sleeping pills. Later, everyone gathers at a graveyard for a mass funeral for all the people who died in the city. Alex finds Lucky sitting by a grave and asks for his help to talk to her mom. Lucky agrees. They all return to the hostel, where Lucky prepares a ritual. Ileana tries to stop them, but Alex is determined. Lucky gives Alex a drug and tells her to focus on her mom's bag, as it's their only link. Alex has a vision of the drowning woman again, and water starts pouring out of her own mouth. Ileana wants to stop, but Alex is in a vision. She sees the woman in the cave as possibly Wanda, and then she snaps out of it. "We're doing something wrong," Alex says. "My mom wasn't there." Ileana agrees. "Yes, but there was a grave, a room, or maybe a cave." Lucky insists they're on the right track, just in the wrong place. Gigi suggests they try the ritual again the next day at her mother's actual grave. Lucky reveals that the date of death on her mom's official record is the day her body was found, not the day she died. Alex realizes she was found 9 days after her death. She uses this new date as the combination, and this time the lock opens. Inside, they find an artifact. Ileana identifies the markings on it as ancient Slavic symbols of the world axis. She asks how Alex's mom could have had this. "Maybe this is a completely different grave," Ileana suggests. Alex asks, "Is Wanda's mound really my mom's grave, or is it just symbolic?" Ileana tells her that archaeologists found nothing there. "Wherever this came from," she says, "it's more than just a grave, it's something much bigger." Alex gets up to leave, but Ileana stops her, knowing she's still under the influence of the drug. She realizes Alex is talking about Wyalixka, a word Hania and Anya used in their song, which Alex must have subconsciously picked up on. Alex looks at her phone. It's exactly 3 a.m., the same time she always sees her mother in her visions. The three of them drive to Wyalixka, but Alex doesn't know where to go. She feels they're in the wrong place. Just then, Lucky sees a group of people walking toward an old university or college. He tells Alex and Ileana to follow him. They sneak into the basement and see more people heading in the same direction. Lucky can see them because they are all spirits, people who are dead or on the verge of death. They follow the spirits deeper into the basement and find a large room with a giant oak tree in the middle. "This is the way to the underworld," Lucky says. Ileana calls it Strom, the guardian of the world of the dead. Alex walks behind the tree and finds a symbol on the floor. She places the artifact from her mom's bag onto it, and it fits like a key. The floor around it turns into a pool of water. As Lucky and Ileana stand before the tree, it starts to come to life. Ileana warns them to close their eyes and not look at the tree. Alex touches the floor, which is now water, and puts her head in, then her whole body. She sinks below the surface and falls into a cave. Moments later, someone else falls in after her. It's 8-War. She approaches Alex, who looks at her and touches her. Upstairs, Ileana searches for Alex but can't find her. She fears Alex looked into the eyes of the tree and is now lost. She tries to find her using her powers, but it doesn't work. Below, 8-War leads Alex forward, where other souls are gathered, all walking in a line. Among them is a familiar face, the professor's son. Back at the hospital, the professor is in his his son's room. He asks his wife to go for a walk, and after she leaves, he disconnects his son's ventilator and pulls the tube from his mouth. In the cave, Alex and 8war come to a godlike figure. They both bow. The god says, "No one who comes here has ever returned." Alex replies, "I'm here to see my mom. She gave me the key." The god says, "Her case is different. She lives here for all eternity. If she leaves, everything will change, and the circle will be complete. 9 will join with 9. The god strikes his staff, and a snake-like creature emerges from it. He tells them 9 steps into the 3 circles of the underworld. Alex follows the creature. 8war follows Alex. Alex has to climb down a wooden ladder. Upstairs, Ileana thinks they've lost Alex and that this was a trap set by War. She wants to tell the professor, but Lucky stops her, saying Alex's mom summoned her and it's a personal matter. Professor removes the breathing tube from his son's mouth. Alex takes 9 steps down. A vision flashes, showing Alex's mom dying in the car accident. 8war was there and cut a piece of skin from the dying mother's wrist, then did the same to the young Alex. Another incident is shown, the one at the beach where Alex's friends died and only she survived. Alex continues down and forward, where she sees the faceless entity again. When it sees Alex, it starts to run. Alex chases it into another cave, where it stops and turns to face a wall. When it turns around, Alex realizes it's her mother. Her mother points upward and says, "This is the place where I gave birth to you." Wanda is also shown, present at that moment. Alex's mother says, "I thought my death would be the end of him, of War. I was wrong. It wasn't me he was waiting for. It was you. He's after you." She says she has to go, but tells Alex, "You have to meet the sick one. It is your destiny." Alex asks where he is. Her mother replies, "The time of female power will come. Free Wanda." 8war and Alex leave the cave. As they walk, Alex hears a knocking sound coming from the walls. In the hospital, the professor feeds his son a piece of the two-hearted creature's heart. On Wanda's mound, several women are performing a ritual, chanting, "Wanda, the most powerful priestess of the wells, cannot die. She will return, and on the night of the blood moon, 9 will meet 9. Alex follows the knocking sound and finds a wall. Behind it is Wanda, who was making the noise. Alex starts knocking too, and the wall breaks down. She looks inside and sees Wanda, then steps forward. Elsewhere, Raphael, now as War, is furious and says, 9 has met 9. Wanda vanishes from Alex's sight, and 8war comes in behind her. This place is Wanda's tomb, the same one Ileana and Alex saw in their visions. As soon as 8war enters, the way back is blocked. Alex starts looking for a way out, just as Ileana saw in her vision. Alex asks 8war to do something. 8war uses all her power to create an opening in the wall. Alex gets out, followed by 8war, who sheds her snake-like skin and emerges in human form. Turns out 8war was a snake-like creature, just like the one in the professor's book. Now, she's a normal human without her powers. War is shown again, and at the same time, the professor's son is completely healed at the hospital. The next morning, Lucky and Ileana emerge from the cave. Ileana thinks they are dead. They are about to leave when they see Alex and 8war. The 4 of them get in the car and drive off. Ileana asks who the woman is, and Alex says, "She's my guardian angel." Ileana realizes, "You might be Wanda." Alex explains, "I spoke to my mom and saw how Wanda merged with me." Suddenly, 8war points ahead, and Lucky slams on the brakes. Someone is standing in the road. Lucky gets out and sees a girl bleeding. He says he's sorry, but the girl replies, "It's okay. It doesn't hurt anymore." Ileana calls out to Lucky, asking if everything is alright. The others couldn't see the girl because she was a ghost. They all return to the hostel and call out for the others, but no one answers. They assume everyone is out drinking since no one is picking up their calls. Ileana goes to find them and returns to short while later with the rest of the group. They want to meet 8war, but Alex refuses. Birdie says no magic works on Alex because she is possessed by Wanda. Hania asks, "Who is the ghost that's killing everyone?" Alex answers, "It's not a ghost, it's a little boy." Lucky says, "We should have known when the creature from the first episode, tried to kill him." Ileana tells Alex that Wanda defeated War in Cracow before, so maybe Alex can do it too. At the hospital, the professor is washing his face when black water starts coming out of the tap and 2 hands emerge from it. He looks in the mirror and sees Raphael standing behind him, who says, "He's not yours anymore, he's mine. His heart is mine." The professor turns around, but he's gone. He walks out into the corridor and sees his son walking normally. Back at the hostel, everyone gathers in the professor's study to find a way to defeat War. Lucky looks for the professor's books that mention him but can't find them. He calls Alex over and asks her to pick a book. Alex picks one, but it's blank. Disappointed, she starts to leave, but Ileana calls her back. She draws an eye symbol on Alex's hand, like the ones on her own, places her hand on the book, and tells her to concentrate. Alex adds, "His his power is growing. Birdie says he is waiting for the blood moon to destroy them. At the hospital, the professor is with his wife and son. The boy starts acting strangely, telling his mother to stay away and saying horrible things to her. The hospital staff has to restrain and sedate him. In the room, the professor and his wife sit in silence. The professor gets up to leave, and his wife asks where he's going. He replies, to fix everything. Everything has a price, and this will too. The professor drives his car to Raphael's location. As he approaches, Raphael's servant grabs him. Raphael says, I did what you asked. A part of me is alive in him now, and now he is mine. The professor asks what he must do to get his son back. Raphael answers, there is one obstacle in my way. This time, my magic will not fail, and history will not repeat itself. The professor kneels and digs his hands into the dirt as Raphael throws a bone at him, saying, listen to me. Later, the professor is seen in town, touching several people with the bone, injuring them. He then returns to his office at the hostel. Lucky comes in and asks how his son is. He's better, the professor replies. Lucky says, I thought of you as a father, but you turned out to be selfish. The professor retorts, have you forgotten that I helped you? Lucky says, no, you only needed us for our powers. You put Alex's life on the line. The professor clarifies, I wasn't working with him. The other girl, that was your idea. The other girl refers to the ghost Lucky saw on the road, implying a similar experiment was done on her, which resulted in her death. The professor takes the bone fragment and puts it in his safe. He then takes the dirt he brought, puts it in a glass, and eats an earthworm from it. He notices his bookshelf is open and takes out a book, which he starts scanning or copying. He then goes out to meet the others, where they discover that 8 War is in the house, protecting Alex because Alex is the incarnation of Wanda. Wanda had told Alex that she was the only one who could defeat War. All of this conversation travels through the house's pipes to the hospital, where the professor's son hears everything. The professor says they first need to find War's lair. Alex suggests it's probably where they found his first victims, near the mound. Let's go there, she says. The professor forbids Alex from going. The rest of the group leaves, while the professor and Alex go to his office. The professor takes a book from his safe and reads that the ancient city of Cracow is surrounded by 4 branches of the Vistula River, and in its swamps dwells War. The book also mentions the place of War's sacrifice and a castle. The professor gets a call and leaves. Alex looks at the copies of the book pages he left behind. She examines the other pages and realizes something. She takes a transparent map and places it over a copy of a book page, and it matches perfectly. She sneaks out, and Lucky is waiting for her outside. The two of them leave together. In the office, the professor sees that Alex is gone and finds the page and the map. Meanwhile, Lucky goes to his mother's house to meet Mikolai. Lucky introduces Alex to him and gives him a Swiss Army knife. Anthony reaches War's cave, while Hania and Anya search another location. Back at the hostel, 8 War wakes up and goes to get something to eat. She then enters the professor's office and is about to touch the book when she feels a strange presence. On the other side of town, Alex's grandmother is seen leaving her house with a bag. She looks up at the sky, where the moon is beginning to turn red. Lucky and Alex arrive at a place that looks like a castle, where a party is going on. There are people in masks, and Alex feels uneasy. Lucky comforts her. After a while, a man with a knife approaches and is about to attack Alex when Lucky intervenes and gets hurt. More masked people attack them, focusing on Lucky. He falls to the ground, and Alex screams for help, but seeing what's happening, everyone runs away. No one helps. Alex lets out a powerful scream, and the echo reaches 8 War at the hostel and even makes War cry out in pain. War's servant sees this and says, "You're getting weak." Raphael tells him, "Don't just stand there, do something." The feeling 8 War had was a premonition of this danger. Alex is crying over Lucky's body. The next morning, Alex's grandmother arrives in Cracow. She looks up and sees the sky filled with birds, an unusual sight. At the hostel, Alex and the professor arrive, and everyone learns that Lucky is gone. They are all shocked and devastated. The professor goes to his office, regretting that his actions led to Lucky's death. Sometime later, there's a knock at the hostel door. Birdie opens it to find no one there, but when he steps outside, he sees Alex's grandmother. They both come inside, and Birdie introduces her to everyone. She cooks for them all, and they gather in the kitchen. 8 War walks up to the professor and glares at him angrily before sitting next to Alex. During the meal, Alex gets angry at the professor and demands, "Are you going to do something or not? He's going to kill us all." She gets up to leave, but her grandmother talks to her, and she returns to the kitchen. Ileana pulls out a book and confirms that the blood moon will be visible over Cracow at 9 p.m. that night. Alex says, "I was born at 9 p.m. According to destiny, when the blood moon appears, history will repeat itself. She asks her grandmother, "Do you remember Wanda, the one Mom mentioned? She knew how to defeat war, but she died, and the secret died with her." The professor suggests, "Why don't we recreate that moment of death?" Alex asks, "Do I have to drown in the Vistula River?" The professor replies, "No, your body just needs to experience the sensation of drowning." Hania asks where they can do this. Alex calls her friend, and the group goes to an old abandoned hospital where there are small pools for bathing. The professor tells Alex that to experience rebirth, she must first experience something akin to death. He takes out a syringe of ketamine, but the others protest, knowing it could be very dangerous for her. However, Ileana assures them everything will be alright. Alex is submerged in the water, and she begins to feel like she's drowning. She feels as if War is on top of her, holding her down. 8 War jumps in to pull her out, and Anthony helps. They manage to get her out of the water. "Why did you stop?" Alex gasps. "I was so close to knowing everything." She wants to try again, and this time, 8 War goes into the water with her. In this vision, Alex sees Wanda and moves towards her. She sees what Wanda did. She said, "3 faces from which the gods were born, where the 3 axes of the world meet, on the day and hour of the power of 3, and then drew a symbol on the ground." After this, they pull Alex out. Back at the hostel, they discuss what Alex saw. She asks about the meaning of the 3 faces. The professor explains it's Triglov, a 3-headed deity, but no one worships him anymore. Meanwhile, Raphael's servant is at home, and black water is seeping out of the artifact. He sits there, terrified. Alex is now on the roof, thinking. She looks at the red thread tied around her wrist and remembers her childhood, recalling that her mother had the same red thread on her wrist. Down on the street, the professor gets a call from his wife at the hospital. Their son's condition has worsened significantly. However, the professor doesn't go. Alex goes downstairs and finds Raphael's servant sitting under the stairs, holding the artifact. He approaches Alex and tells her, "That boy is very afraid of you. I've seen him. I can help you." As he's speaking, the professor appears and starts beating him. Birdie and Anthony arrive and pull them apart. The professor sees the artifact and says, "Triglov." Everyone gathers in the professor's office. He asks Raphael's servant, "The statue of Triglov doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Where did you get this?" The servant replies, "I just found it." Hania says he can hear him, meaning Triglov. The professor asks, "Can you talk to him? Do you know the ancient language of the gods? If so, who taught you?" "I don't know," he says. Anya adds, "He's one of our kind, which means he has powers too." Alex looks at the 3 sides of the statue and sees the symbol for the number 3 on each side. "The total is 9, she says, and Wanda was the 10th. 8 War goes to the servant and has a vision of the time Alex's mom was raped, realizing this man was the perpetrator. "We found the statue. We don't need him anymore," says the professor. Alex disagrees. "No, we need him. Now that Lucky is gone, we need a 9th person." Alex and the others leave to go to the center of the city and the other intersecting points. Alex gives the Triglov statue to 8 War and instructs her to have it at the location at exactly 9 p.m., not a minute before or after. Alex and the professor drive to the forest, to War's lair. The professor attacks Alex, knocks her to the ground, and calls for War. War appears and attacks Alex. The professor asks him about his son. War gets distracted, and Alex runs. War has Alex's blood on his hands, which he licks, and then begins to chase her. Meanwhile, the others arrive at their designated intersecting points, following the locations on their phones. Alex runs and reaches the town. Hania's point is Wanda's mound, Anya's is War's cave, and Birdie's is in the middle of a road. Anthony's point is inside a building, which he can't enter, so he looks for another way. Alex successfully lures War to the central point, Axis Mundi. The professor is still struggling to climb the hill to his point, and his eyes turn black as he screams. It's almost 9 p.m., and the professor and Anthony haven't reached their spots. At the center point, Alex stops and War attacks her. He then rips out of Raphael's body, revealing his true form as a dragon. Ileana decides they must begin the ritual, even though they don't know if they will succeed. As War is about to kill Alex, 8 War arrives to save her, but gets injured and knocked unconscious. In the midst of the chaos, Alex and the team perform the ritual. 8 War gets up and places the Triglov statue. Alex defeats War, trapping him back inside the statue, which then turns back into black water and flows back into the artifact. They finish the ritual, unsure if they were successful since time had run out. Alex takes out her lighter and sets the Triglov statue on fire. The others arrive, and Ileana, seeing the burning statue, cries out, "What have you done?" Afterward, everyone gathers around Alex to support her. The next morning, or perhaps a few days later, Alex goes to college and sees a notice about Lucky's death. She walks down a corridor, and a deity appears behind her. He says, "You cannot kill gods, no matter how evil. You have broken the law, and you will be punished for it." At the hospital, the professor's son is fully recovered. In the hostel, 8war enters a room and sees Lucky. He looks back at her and the series ends. Alright, let's dive into the explanation of the series because I know a lot of you probably have questions and doubts. I'll do my best to break everything down clearly. First up, let's talk about War. War was an ancient, evil god created by a being named Triglov. Now, Triglov was this deity with 3 heads. One created good gods, the second created evil ones, and the third was all about maintaining the balance between them. War was one of those evil gods, and his home was a swamp in the town of Cracow. Now, let's jump to the present day. In the current timeline, a worker discovers a statue of Triglov. This statue was actually War's prison. The moment the worker touches it, War communicates with him and breaks free. He then sets out to reclaim his old town. So who's Wanda? Wanda was a powerful priestess from ancient times, and she was also the king's daughter. The story goes that the king declared that whoever defeated the dragon, who was actually War, could marry Wanda. But Wanda wasn't having any of that. She decided to take down War herself. However, killing a god was considered a huge sin, so instead of killing him, she trapped him inside an object, the very same statue of Triglov. This brings us to Alex. Alex is actually Wanda's 10th reincarnation. Her mother gave birth to her on the Axis Mundi, which is a powerful spiritual nexus. Alex's mom had visions and a deep knowledge of ancient lore. It's believed that Wanda's spirit connected with Alex's mom and chose Alex's body as her new vessel. There's another piece to her backstory. Alex's mother was assaulted by one of Raphael's followers. It's theorized that this traumatic event might be the reason Alex has special powers. However, this is never fully confirmed. It's just a theory. As for the ritual to trap War again, they needed 10 people, 9 people positioned at different points, with the 10th person at the center, Wanda, who is now Alex. Now, let's talk about Raphael. Raphael was a poor kid with an alcoholic father. In the very first episode, we see him setting off firecrackers by a river when there's a disturbance in the water. This is likely the moment War possessed him, making Raphael his human host. Over time, that boy, Raphael, essentially became War. And who was Ravit? He was a good, fire elemental deity born from Triglov's good face. When War broke free, Ravit showed up to stop him, but he was accidentally killed by Alex. This was a critical mistake. The Triglov statue was brought to the Axis Mundi to restore balance and force War back inside it, exactly like Wanda did all those years ago. So that leaves the question, how and why did Alex's mom die? She knew War was after her, possibly because Wanda's spirit was guiding her. She believed that if she killed herself, War's pursuit would end. But she was wrong. War wasn't waiting for her. He was waiting for Alex, who was Wanda's true reincarnation. Finally, why did the original Wanda drown herself? Wanda knew that if she remained alive, she would just be reborn again when War inevitably returned in the future. She wanted to end the cycle for good. But because her soul found its way into Alex, Alex slowly began to inherit all of Wanda's memories and knowledge, especially the knowledge of how to defeat War once and for all. So guys, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, then what are you waiting for? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Love you all.